Greetings, fellow Ambazonians. I've come today to you to set the record straight regarding justice for Linus Fonte, one of two university students who were killed in cold blood in Munya by the Cameroon B forces led by Ewume Eko that goes by the name Moja Moja. They were removed from their house. 3 of them were arrested. The identity of one of the students that was killed have not yet been established. But one of them is called Linus Fonte. He was killed and his body displayed on the street. And the other one, Buea Prof, is still under Cameroon custody. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea, Professor Ngomo, have come out with a statement. Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea have put out a press statement 15 days after this incident. One would have imagined that the university would quickly put out a statement immediately the students were killed to call for swift justice and investigation condemning the extrajudicial killing of their students. They did not. But they have put out a statement out there not to call for justice, not to call for the release of their student who is currently in custody of the Cameroon army, but they have put out a statement that seeks to cover up the murder, cold-blooded murder of we believe two university students from the University of Buea. In the press statement, Professor Ngomo, who raised manga, stated that the dead body displayed by Moja Moja, the B officer whose names are Ewume Eko, were not students of the University of Buea, neither were they the 2 students in questions. That means Linus Fonte and Buea Prof. And he confirmed 2 things in this press statement. One is that Linus Fonte and Jires Mbo were both picked up by the Cameroon army from their residence in Munya, and one of them ended up dead, and his body is in the mortuary of Buea. What the Vice Chancellor failed to disclose to the Ambazonian people and to the world is that Linus and Jires were both picked up by the elite unit forces of the B led by Ewume Eko, and they were only taken subsequently in Cameroon paramilitary police base, place where he usually captured Ambazonian civilians, including the wife of the Ambazonian General Nopiti, and handed them over to this particular police station for safekeeping. So Moja Moja have been working in this same manner, picking up innocent civilians and taking them to this particular Cameroon paramilitary base for torture, harassment, and for subsequent transfer to their concentration camp in Kondengi. Professor Ngomo, who raised, failed to call for the immediate release of Buea Prof, one of his students, who are still in custody without any prosecution or any charge. Buea Prof was removed from custody and a gun placed in front of him for propaganda pictures to be taken to justify their arrest. This is what we know, and these are the facts we know. Professor Ngomo, who raised, have not demonstrated or shown any evidence to prove that the corpses that were displayed on the street of Munya are not the corpses of these students, university students, that were murdered by the group led by Moja Moja. As a matter of fact, the dress that was put on by, the same dress, the same red t-shirt that was shown in the pictures of the dead body of Linus Fonte in the mortuary is the same t-shirt that the dead body displayed on the street of Munya were wearing. So it is one and the same person. There were multiple people who saw the dead bodies that were brought on the street of Munya. Those dead bodies were well wrapped inside body bags that could only come from the Cameroon government. So this is a government-sanctioned extrajudicial execution of 2 innocent Ambazonian students with false claim that they were Ambazonian combatants. Moja Moja, a B officer, came into the residence in Munya with a lot of officers, some of them Some of the neighbors have claimed that there were about 8 of them. They came into Munia and arrested 3 people. 3 of them we believe are students. The identity of one have not yet been established. Amongst the 3 were Linus Fonte and Bu Gires. He removed them from the house and took them away. The next time we saw them, they were dead. 2 of them were dead, and their body were desecrated on our street. On their body were placed false names. On the body of one of those dead boys was written the name 1010, which is a very famous name amongst Ambazonian fighters. On the body of Linus, another name that could not be recognized properly was written on his name. These are all evidence that Moja Moja was trying to frame these 2 students as combatants to justify their execution. We also have confirmed on the record that the Cameroon military made a phone call to the relative of Linus Fonte to inform her that her brother was killed in a gun exchange between the Cameroon army and the so-called separatist fighters that they claim Mr. Linus was. These are all false allegations. We know for sure, and has been confirmed by Professor Ngomo, that Linus, Bu Gires are all students of higher education pursuing postgraduate courses. There is no evidence to make anybody to believe that these 2 innocent students who have been living regular students' life have anything to do with armed conflict that is currently going on between the state of Cameroon and Ambazonia. These are 2 innocent university students that were brutally murdered with bullet wounds on their chests and their body desecrated on our street. Moja Moja trampled upon them to mock the Ambazonian people who are calling for separation and independence. This is a crime, a war crime for political objective, for the purpose of using terror to frighten our people into subjugation, to give up their aspiration for separation and independence. It is as simple as that. The statement put out by the University of Buea, their Vice Chancellor, Ngomo, is a disgrace to school authorities. School authorities have a duty of care to their students. The responsibility of school authorities during such period is to condemn extrajudicial killing and to call for the release or the exhibition of evidence against Mr. Bu Gires that is currently being held by the Cameroon military without trial, without any charges, and incommunicado. The family members of these 2 students are currently being harassed, while the university students are worried about the identity of the 3rd body that have not yet been found and was not deposited in the Buea Regional Mortuary. Instead of calling for the release of one of those students who are still in Cameroon custody, who was displayed in a propaganda video with a bullet and a gun in front of him to implicate him in a crime we all know he did not commit, the university staff, Professor Ngomo, have instead come out to cover up a crime committed by the state of Cameroon. This is the same modus operandi we have seen in Garbu when the Cameroon military killed and executed numerous families, including pregnant women and children below 10 years old. The Cameroon B officer, Moja Moja John Ewume Eko, constantly carry out harassment of our people, promoting hate speech against Ambazonians and carrying out execution of our young men for the sole purpose of using terror to frighten our people into submission. These are all war crimes that are visible before everybody. Blatant violation of war laws and crimes against humanity. What we expect from the university is to call for speedy release of Bu Gires and the arrest of those who are involved in this crime. The claim made by the Professor Ngomo that the family members will be allowed to assist or to oversee autopsy that will be done over the corpse is ridiculous, because the family members are not competent people and will add no value or assure any fair result of autopsy. What we know for sure, which the university have confirmed, is that Linus Fonte was arrested or picked up by the Cameroon military, he ends up dead. We have seen the video of his dead body being displayed as an Ambazonian combatant when we know he is not. We have seen his friend being displayed with a gun and a bullet, which we know was planted, as the Cameroon military have always been doing in Ambazonia. He is currently in jail. Their families are being intimidated not to speak out. We know for sure that the phone call of the Cameroon military informing their relative that they were part of a gun battle with the Cameroon government were all lies. These are individuals who have no credibility and are only coming out to lie because of our campaign to speak for these individuals who cannot speak for themselves. Their families are terrified and can no longer speak in freedom. Ambazonians people should see these people for who they are, murderers of students. This is a war Paul Biya is leading, and this is the conduct of the state of Cameroon in prosecuting a subjugation war against our people. We must resist. We must not accept this as new normal, and we must see the danger it poses to all of our citizens. Nobody is safe, not even students, not even baby mata or senior citizens, not even pastors. It is a genocide, and we must call it for what it is.